Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You already know what time it is. And your Maddie lean a gay. Listen, you ain't got the minerals, baby. Crap. And listen, guys, you already know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. Tell somebody about this channel. Tell someone about this video because it's about to go down. We're giving you our next series on called Expectations. Yes. Guys, in relationships, so many expectations are unsaid. There are so many different expectations that happen, but we sometimes, you know what, people get into people have expectations, and they, you know what, we expect that someone else would meet them without actually saying what we expected. Like, we expect someone to mind read us, you know. But we'll get into that in a second. I want to just kind of break it down and break it all the way down. Do you know what I'm saying? So expectations, what is the definition of expectation? It is a strong belief that something will happen or be the case. And then I want to just obviously just talk about this particular video, which is this is what I want. I want you to kind of get into a place now, because we did a video called Situationship, and this is birthed out of that. So what we're talking about here is expectations, and so this is what you want. You know, sometimes we expect, like I said, someone to mind read us and give us what we want, but in often the case, the reality is you haven't said what you want, so therefore I can't meet what you want. And because you have not stated what you want, someone will take advantage of what you want. For instance, I've got this Kit Kat Chunky. The expectation is that this will meet a criteria of taste that I particularly like. Now, when it doesn't meet my criteria, I say no. Because it's stated that it's going to have a certain taste, right? Like, for instance, if this was white chocolate, right? It is white chocolate. If this said this was white chocolate, but I found a brown chocolate, would my expectations be met? No, because on the front of the wrapper, it said white chocolate. But when I opened it, it's a brown chocolate. Now, it stated white chocolate, therefore when it says brown chocolate, I can actually say I'm not down with this. But if it hadn't said anything, it's just a plain chocolate bar, and it doesn't say anything on it, then what do I have to complain? It doesn't say it's a chocolate. It doesn't even say it's a chocolate. It doesn't say anything on it. It's plain wrapper. Then when I open it, I can only be surprised by what I see. Why? Because I've not stated what it is. By all that means, let's get into the video. So, as I stated, expectation is a strong belief that something will happen or be the case. Well, in terms of relationships, you know, there's often a time where we have a thought in our mind. For instance, oh, we're talking now, right? You're in a talking stage. It happens a lot. We're in a talking stage, and nobody has stated that they want a relationship, but we're expecting that you're going to take it to a relationship. Here is the problem that a lot of you have, which I mentioned in Situationship. You want a relationship. You think by the fact that we're talking that they also want a relationship, but it's just like the damn chocolate bar. If that chocolate bar was plain, though it could be shaped like a chocolate bar, it doesn't make a difference. If I open it, I'm going to be damn surprised more than likely, because what I expect is not what was said onto the chocolate bar wrapper. So when it comes to relationships, and you're talking and you're spending time together, where the person's taking a lot of your time, don't have an expectancy that, oh, automatically this is a relationship, or this is going towards a relationship. State what you want. Let me give you an example. I'm going to give you a biblical example. The Bible says that the law of God, the 10 Commandments that you guys know, okay, or 613 if you want to make it correct, laws that God gave to Israel, was for the sole purpose of letting everybody know they are a sinner. Yes, the law wasn't there to save you. It didn't have the power to save man. That's why we needed Jesus Christ. So the law was there as a preschool master to tell you that you need God, because none of you are perfect, and therefore you all break the rules. Therefore you're all criminals. So the law brought about a specific purpose. It said what it needed to do, okay, which was to let everybody know what they are. Your word, as God says his word, is law. when you say that word, the person has the choice either to make up to that particular word that you said or expectation, or to break the expectation. So if I say to you, listen, you know what, and this goes back to my example about PEW, which is position, expectation, wants. You're in a position where you're now talking regularly. Your expectation now is that, okay, we're having, and some of you are having sex too, and that's a problem. You're having sex now, you've engaged them, you let them come into your inner circle. Okay, cool. I'm thinking this is going towards relationship. That's your expectation. But you've not stated that. And therefore, the person hasn't also stated what they want. They're probably getting what they want, but they haven't stated what they want, which is probably just the sex from you. And so what you need to do as an expectation to not feel painful, because expectations, what it does when you don't speak it, there's always a hurt and a pain that was associated with that expectation that you didn't say. Because somebody's not a mind reader, okay? Nobody's a mind reader, you know what I'm saying? Although, yes, you're cooking for him, you're cleaning for him, you're around his house every day, yes, you're having sex with him, it does not equate to the fact that you're going to be in a relationship because you've not stated that is what you want. Back to my analogy of the plain chocolate wrapper, which it might not even be a chocolate because it doesn't say anything on the wrapper. Okay, so at that point you need to understand that you're not in a relationship, you're not in anything, you're just in a space. So state what you expect to happen because you're in a particular position. Cool. So this is what happens when you begin to state your expectations. The other person knows exactly where they stand. When you begin to say what you expect, your word becomes the baseline. I want you to understand that when you state what you want, your word now becomes the baseline. It is up to you to hold the baseline. If they don't meet the baseline, do not drop the baseline for them. If you said, listen, we're not having sex because I want a relationship from you, and they say, listen, no, I'm not really there yet, I'm trying to build my empire, I'm trying to get somewhere, look, can't we just have sex and go with the flow? Listen, all of that is not your baseline. All of that is below the baseline. What you said was, I like you, I want a relationship with you, I want commitment from you, okay? And the person decides that they're not really feeling it. Well, the moment they're not really feeling it, or they're not acting in a way that is in alignment with your expectation, you have qualms to quibble. You have arms to quibble. You have a position to state something, look, you've not met the expectation. Therefore, here is my action. Okay. Number two, when you state what should happen, or when you state your expectation, this is what happens. There are no more gray areas. Yeah? Because you stated what you want. I've learned this the painful way recently. That when people are wanting to be slick, okay, when, look, just like people who commit crime, when they get a lawyer, what's the job of the lawyer? It's to expose the loopholes in the law. They're not trying to change the law. They're not trying to break the law. They're trying to find the loophole in the law. Well, when you state an expectation, the person's going to look for a loophole in that. So what you need to do is state it very, very clearly, just like the law. State it very, very clearly. So there are no more gray areas. Listen, you say to someone, listen, look, we've been chatting for a long time. I've given you a lot of my time. I really appreciate you. I really like you. Listen, you lose nothing by telling someone you like them. You like them, and so don't feel no way about it. I like you. I liked you, yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you love them, you like them. Alright, I liked you. We've been speaking for 2-3 weeks. I want to know what your expectation is, because I want this to be in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? I want this to go to a relationship. And the person's like, listen, at that point, listen, then he's like, do you know what, yeah, I'm kind of feeling a relationship, but let's kind of go with the flow right now, let's see where it goes. Okay, then state, listen, I don't want to see where it goes, I actually want a relationship with you. Go with the flow, I don't need it. That's little boys and girls. I am not a little girl or boy, I know what I want. I don't go with the flow. So either you can meet my expectation, or you can't. No gray areas. You understand? Boom. Alright. How are you able to state, or how are you able to say what you want? Well, the only way to be able to say what you want and not to be coerced into gray areas and not stating your expectation is to understand yourself. You see, a lot of people don't understand themselves. When I say understand themselves, they're not comfortable with themselves. They don't value themselves. And so what happens is, even though they know that, okay, cool, do you know what, I haven't even stated my expectation. I expect this will go to a relationship, but do you know what? The guy's not giving you the relationship. He's not saying the title, he's not saying what we're going to be. He's just enjoying the fruits of the relationship without being in a relationship. And because you don't value yourself, because you don't understand yourself, because you don't know yourself, you're not able to be strong and say, I don't want this. Instead, you go with the flow, because it is easier to take a long-term pain in subtle increments than it is for a short, sharp pain. Hallelujah. It's a word. It's easier, let me say it again, it's easier to deal with the incremental changes of pain, okay, that means an increasing of pain gradually over time, than it is to deal with a short, sharp pain they're going to feel immediately. That's why you decided not to state your expectations, even though the person is going below the baseline of what you expect from the scenario. Cool. Number 2, when you have goals and are focused on getting it, then you will always state what you expect, because you know where you're going. The trouble is, a lot of you don't know where you're going. And because you don't know where you're going, you can't state what you want, because you don't know what you want. In fact, you don't know what you need in order to help you along that journey. This is why Christ is so important. You see, until I came to Christ and He gave me a vision of where I need to go to, I knew certain women are not for me. You understand? I knew certain gal are not for me. I don't need an argumentative gal. I don't need a girl who's going to wrestle me. I don't need a girl who's going to tell me to shut up, because if you ever do with that, it's going to be a war between me and you, and it's going to be a war. I need a girl who's going to be cool, calm, collected. I need a girl who's going to support me, who's going to love me, who's going to care for me, want to put arms around me. You know what I'm saying? I need that kind of thing. That's what I need. You understand? That's my expectation. But I know that because why? I know where I'm going. I know the kind of ministry God has called me to. Do you understand? Cool. So be focused, get some goals, and start targeting those goals. When you do, guys get shook, number 1, and then if guy who gets close enough, you can suss them out, because you know that they're not going where you're going. Truth. Number 3, when you've developed strength by being on your own. See, a lot of you haven't had time being on your own. You're too used to being in a relationship. You're too used to being in and out of a relationship. You're too used to having company. And so therefore, you've not built up this strength within yourself. You see, singleness, the wilderness, I call it. When Jesus Christ went into the wilderness in Matthew 4, do you know how important it was? He learned everything he needed to learn. He learned about temptation, how to overcome it. And that was the systematic, that was so important for the next 3 years of his ministry, because when temptation came, the Bible says that he's like man like us, who has suffered temptation and understands where we come from, but he never succumbed to the temptation. Why? There's 40 days and 40 nights spent in the wilderness. It strengthened him. Have you spent time in the wilderness? Have you spent time alone? Have you spent time where you're not with somebody and you're not having somebody liking you? No. So the truth of the matter is, you don't know how to be strong. You don't know how to stand on your own 2 feet, because you're used to being in a relationship, being propped up. That's the truth. And a lot of you, some of you, you know what? You don't know what's good for you. Like, you don't know. It's almost like, I shouldn't even say that. You know what's good for you, but you don't have the strength to reject what's not good for you. Like, you say this, oh, he is sexy, or she is sexy, and I know they're not good for me, but I just want to taste. The problem is, you want to taste. You've not overcome that old self of yours, that old man. You've not overcome that young girl, young boy in you that wants, you know, the scintillating love, you know, the tantalizing, you know what I mean? You still want that kind of energy, rather than going for someone who's going to partner with you long term. You like the sultriness, the seductiveness, the scintillatingness, the magical dance that you guys do as you're doing the Ludos love. You know what I'm saying? You want all of that. But the truth of the matter is, do you need it? And a lot of you don't know what you need, and that's the problem. Here's what happens when you don't state your expectation. You open yourself up for her. Why? Because you're not stating what you want. The person can take advantage, and therefore you are hurt by the fact that they took advantage of what you were offering without actually saying it. Number 2, your expectations will not be met. It's simple as that. You want a relationship, but you have not stated you want a relationship, so he takes advantage. Maybe if you stated you want a relationship, the person wouldn't have gone there. Maybe a man or a girl wouldn't have dragged you along this ride, but you didn't state it. And because you didn't state it, silence was agreement. You agreed to their terms and conditions of expectations. You will always end up arguing with somebody not meeting your level when you don't state your expectation. There will always be a painful argument. There will always be a painful debate. There will always be the long-ass paragraph you're going to write, because you didn't state what you needed and what you want. The problem isn't out there, the problem is you. Do you get me? I don't want to go on this. 5 minutes, cool. And when you don't state what happens, you expect the person to mind read, and wires are crossed. So I want to end and conclude on this. Expectations are so important. What is your expectation? You know, in a relationship, what is your expectation? This even goes for those who are in good relationships. What is your expectation? Stop being mute. Start opening your mouth and telling people what is your expectation. And because, you know, this is where people start getting angry, and then when you get angry, we're not sure why you are angry. You know, and I'm talking about good relationships where, for instance, even for me, let me give you an example where, you know, I was dating a girl back in the day, and I used to play football on a Sunday, and I told her, oh, I beg you just come to watch the game. Now, what I should have really said is, do you know what? Look, it would mean a lot to me if you came to the game, because, do you know why? Because, you know what, my dad didn't really come to my game, so you coming to the game would mean a lot to me. One, I've explained the expectation, I want you to come to the game. Two, I've stated the why. Because a lot of times we don't explain the why. This is why I want you to come to the game, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't make it, let me know. But I want you to come to at least one of the games. Person didn't come to the game, I didn't explain, I said, oh, I just want you to come to the game, like, I bet you come to one of the games eventually. Person didn't come to the game, and I was hurt, and I reacted in an angry manner. Why? Because I didn't state my actual expectation, what I actually wanted from the person. This is what I expect. I expect you to come and watch this game because you say you care for me, you love for me, I want you to enjoy what I'm enjoying. You know what I'm saying? So, state it, don't keep quiet, let the person know, and then you won't have problems as you do now. Guys, like, share, subscribe. Little Black Book is back with a bang, baby. Listen, there's a 3-part video for this, so number 2 and 3 are going to come out. Our next one we're going to talk about is prioritizing an expectation. So, guys, if you're having relationship issues, LBB is a place to be, okay? Like, share, subscribe. Are you mad? Are you mad? Are you lean? Okay, you ain't got the what? Mineral, baby. Jesus is Lord.